Relationship advice. How do I, 27 male, support my brother, 29 male, and his marriage after his fiancée, 27 female, cheated during her bachelorette party? I'll try to keep this as brief as possible, and for anonymity, I will refer to my brother as Jack and his fiancée as Jill. My brother Jack and his fiancée Jill have been together for about 4 years and engaged since early 2019. I really liked them together and felt that Jill was the first, marriage material girlfriend that my brother dated. The wedding was planned for earlier this year but was cancelled indefinitely, after it was discovered that Jill cheated during her bachelorette trip 5 months before the wedding. She had no intention of ever telling him, but he found out when he saw a text from a friend of hers that was on the trip. The text basically said, "I don't know how I can stand up in front of your families and give a toast after what happened." After a few days of trickled truths and arguing, it came out that Jill had sex with someone while drunk. Jack was devastated and called off the wedding immediately. They broke up and about a month later Jack was in a new city with a new job. This seemed like the best possible scenario, since he was away from her and had new things to keep his mind busy. Well, that lasted all of a few weeks and slowly, Jill was getting back into his life. Now, a little over a year after the incident, she has moved in with him in his new city and just last week they became re-engaged. What? I have absolutely no respect for Jill, or any cheater for that matter, and I don't understand how Jack can see past what she did. There is no excuse for cheating, and to do it during a bachelorette party shows you have no respect for your partner or potential marriage. The first time I saw Jill after she cheated, which was at a family holiday only 2 months later, I was a little nasty and got scolded by Jack and my mother. From that point forward I have basically given Jill the gray rock treatment. I don't engage with her, unless she says something first, and when I do talk to her, my answers are short. I assumed that they were doomed to fail, and I would just have to put up with her until Jack finally came to his senses. Now that they are re-engaged, it looks like I am going to have to put up with Jill longer than I expected, and I'm not sure I can keep up the gray rock routine. There's only so many, ahas, left in me before I snap and say, "Hey, remember when you effed that guy?" My question is, how can I be supportive of my brother in his marriage when I have no respect for his partner whatsoever? Now for the top advice. Ask him when's the next bachelorette party. No joke, he's probably thinking that as long as there's no bachelorette party, everything will be cool. This, and constantly ask her after the fact, how her last night of Freedom D was as good this time around when she does have another party. And if you're lucky and you keep up the reminders, she might just cheat again. Tell your brother to get a prenuptial agreement. Tell your brother to grow a backbone. I think, for the most part, you're totally in the right for how you feel about Jill and what she did. At a certain point though, I think you will need to examine where the line is, where your hatred of Jill begins to hurt your brother. You obviously despise her, I probably would too, and the pain she caused to your brother and family. However, life is messy and some couples sometimes reconcile, even after infidelity. If they stay together and their marriage is successful, at some point your hatred will be the thing hurting your brother as much as or more. If the pain fades over time, then Jill's cheating. Focus your energy on being there for your brother, rather than hating her. Gray rock for now, but keep an eye out for your brother's best interests, since he's the one you want to support. If, down the line, he decides he made a mistake getting back together with her, you can be the one to embolden him. However, if he really forgives her, it will be up to you to try to as well. If you're close with your brother, you may also want to talk to him honestly about what's going through his head right now. I'm sure he's confused, but there may also be layers to the story you don't know. Nothing that would justify the cheating, but perhaps something that would justify the forgiveness. Now for the next story. Found out my girlfriend is sleeping with her boss. My girlfriend and I have been together for 10 years. We have 2 kids, though I am not the biological father. I have considered myself dad for the 10 years as the real father is seldom in the picture due to prison/lifestyle. We have had multiple issues over the years, including 2 weeks ago, when I suggested that maybe we should call it quits, to which she stated no desire to give up on a 10-year relationship. She said that she did not want to leave and wanted to continue. So, 2 nights ago, I found out she is sleeping with her boss. She fell asleep with the phone in her hands and a thumb on the keyboard, as if she actually passed out while typing, so when I flipped over because she was snoring, I see a message saying she can't wait until his hands and mouth all over her again. With her hands still holding the phone, I scroll through the messages and see that it has been going on for about 2 months. Lots of I love yous and actual talk of marriage. Never proper for a boss to be with his manager, but he did think she was single, not that it makes it right, just eliminating the anger towards him. I was referred to as the ex multiple times. I then grabbed the phone from her sleeping hands and nudged her several times trying to get her to wake up and hear my disgust, but she was out cold. I then forwarded a couple of their messages to mine so that she wouldn't be able to deny their existence. I also wrote her at that time hoping the notification would wake her, or that she would see them as soon as she did wake up. Normally, she gets up a couple hours before I do. This morning, she overslept and didn't wake up until I did at 7:30. She ran out to her appointment before work, but did not talk to me before leaving. A few minutes later, she got in a serious car wreck, totaling my car and sending her to the hospital. With COVID rules applying, she noted me as her lone visitor and was called notifying me of the accident. I rushed to the hospital, now full of sorrow as well. The sadness went away as I learned she would be okay, though in some pain, few breaks, stitches etc. In the wreckage, her phone was lost/destroyed as well as a lot of her memory of that morning, but not my memory of what I saw in the messages I sent to my phone. At this point I have no idea if she knows that I know. No matter my anger, I didn't feel like it was the appropriate setting to discuss all of this at the hospital. But it's eating away at me. She is still in the hospital, had surgery today, and will take several weeks to get on her feet again. My quandary is several parts. When do I confront her about the infidelity? Possible that she already knows that I know, but doesn't want to talk about it right now. She is probably going to be released tomorrow. The problem with me is that, I have a very hard time staying mad at anyone and often forgive things I shouldn't. Infidelity being one of them. This is not the first time though I have been 100% faithful through the relationship. Also, why on earth would she want to stay when I gave her an out several weeks ago? I'm just a bit at a loss right now. I don't think I've ever been this ready to be done with things. I love my kids, and think that them leaving will take away a lot of stability in their lives. The house is completely mine, so she would be the one leaving. More than anything, I think I'm just trying to get it all off my chest and get a little clarity before going through what is sure to be a messy breakup. I don't need to be told I'm an idiot for forgiving the prior ex and should have known this would come again. Thanks all. Now for the top advice. Some tough love. Stop being a pushover. Confront her when she's discharged and begin making plans to end the relationship. Yeah, I was thinking that when she's discharged. Make sure to tell his company, so they can deal with this. Thanks. I was considering that, but that takes some of the means to her leaving away. And it's honestly a little more spiteful than I'm capable of. I'm usually a live and let live kind of dude. I suggest you go see a lawyer and get yourself fully protected while she recovers. Once the lawyer gives you the thumbs up, tell her it's time for her to leave. She just wants the home and stability you provide her kids. Tell her she can move in with her boss. I don't know if I need a lawyer. I pay all the bills, mortgage is all me. Make sure, 10 years supporting her and her kids could leave you on the hook. Spend the money and protect yourself. Good idea. I'd be happy to keep the kids, but that wouldn't happen. I'm pretty sure there's no common law in Kentucky. She's not dying. It is perfectly fine for you to tell her right now that you caught her cheating and it is over. As soon as she is healthy enough to be discharged from the hospital, arrangements can be made to boot her out of your house. True. Good point. Now for the last story. My 35 male, ex-wife's 34 female, fiancé, 30s male, want to take my last name as his own when they get married. It rubs me the wrong way, and I'm afraid it may cause an issue if I don't handle it properly. My ex-wife and I met in college, and I was immediately attracted to her free-spirited nature and sense of adventure, because I was very similar at the time. Long story short, we were together for a total of 9 years and married for 7 of those. We ended up having 2 kids during the time, a son, 9 male, and a daughter, 7 female. It's been about 4 years since the divorce was finalized. Honestly, we had a pretty good marriage. However, we both realized as we got older that our visions of how we saw our daily lives wasn't going to mesh. She is just as she always was, attending music festivals, stopping by art shows, or trying some new hobby. I basically became what many might consider the boring one, who kind of just wanted to have nights in cooking or watching movies, doing projects for the house, or reading books with our kids. Neither one of us faults the other for our marriage not working out. As a result, we are on great terms with one another. This has been wonderful for co-parenting. However, There's an issue that has recently popped up, that I just don't know how to feel about. My ex is supposed to get married in March to a guy she has been dating for a few years. I'm happy for her. Her marriage isn't the issue. My issue is with their last names. Weird, I know. Please, let me explain. When we got married, we went the traditional route most do, where she took my last name. This time around, they, my ex and her fiancé, decided that he would like to take her last name, because he doesn't like his for some reason. So, what's the problem? She never went back to her maiden name after the divorce. The guy wants to take my last name as his own. I know that it's kind of silly because anyone can legally change their name to pretty much whatever they want. However, this situation just rubs me the wrong way. I understand that my last name became her last name also from a legal standpoint, but the name is my family surname that she chose to share. It may be worth noting that I did not push for her to take my last name in any way. This guy is not part of my family. Let me be clear, that I actually really like her fiancé. He is a good guy who I have no issue with being around my kids, and who I even just like on a personal level from when we have hung out at activities that revolved around the kids. He will be a great stepdad or even a father, if they have a kid of their own, but that doesn't change the fact that he isn't part of my family. Additionally, and maybe this sounds petty, but I wouldn't want anyone to assume he is my children's father based on the fact that him and my kids all have the same last name, which is not a common last name. I have talked twice with my ex about this, and each time she has dismissed my feelings regarding it. The first time she basically maintained that it was just a name, but didn't really have a response when I asked why they didn't use her maiden name or just choose a last name they both liked or agreed on if the name didn't matter. The second time, she told me that he really likes my last name and doesn't care for his own. This is when I found out why they were going this route. This issue has been running through my mind more and more as their wedding date, current state of the world permitting, approaches. I don't know if I should address this with him also since we are on friendly terms, talk this over with my ex more, or just let it be and accept it. I don't want this as in any way affect my relationship with my ex, as I feel that us having an issue would be bad for co-parenting reasons. Does anyone have advice on how I should handle this? Is it even reasonable, even if it isn't entirely logical, for someone in my position to feel the way I do? I'm kind of at a loss as to what to do at the moment. Any input would be appreciated. Edit. It has come up a lot that my ex wants to keep the same last name as the kids. This is not the case. She assumed she would be taking his last name and was fine with that. The fiancé is the one who said he doesn't want her to change her name. He wants her to keep it so that he can have my last name. Edit. It also seems worth noting, as it has come up several times, that I did not ask my ex to take my last name or expect it. I was fine with her keeping her own and thus just hyphenating the kid's last name. She was the one who chose to take my last name, because that was what she wanted for herself. I'd have less of an issue with this, if I had insisted she take my name in this same situation arose. Now for the top comments. Yes, it is weird. Also, it's going to make it look like your children are his children. They look like a family unit and you are an uncle. Besides getting manipulative, there's basically not much you can do. I also thought that, but I wasn't sure how much of how I was looking at the situation was affected by the fact that I'm actually a party to it. I'm glad to hear others might view it that way. That's why I think your only recourse is to point out this guy is trying to become you, that he's obsessed with you, that's he's trying to look like dad and not stepdad, in a manipulative attempt to weird out ex and get her to agree it's weird. But that's manipulative and Machiavellian, so you shouldn't actually do that. Do you think it's worth bringing up to the fiancé, so I can hear from him directly about it? He and I have always been friendly to one another. It's a little odd and I understand why you find it off, but please consider this gender-flipped scenario. You're female and took your husband's last name. He remarries, and now there's a different Mrs. last name. Sometimes parenting your children. Just the way the cookie crumbles, right? I think a bit this is a gender/cultural issue, and that is why it strikes you as odd. It's not meant to be personal, it probably has nothing to do with you at all. She may have kept it so she shared the last name of your kids. Sentiment, practicality, maybe to avoid social awkwardness or adhere to social mores. Maybe her marriage with you was defining, a part of her identity, the name she chose rather than the one she was born with. Who knows? I also doubt he's trying to usurp you. He wants to maybe leave a bad family name and attach trauma behind, is non-traditional, understands her desire to keep her last name and doesn't mind losing his own. Again, who knows? If she doesn't care about the last name, They could even create a new one. That's a trend with some folks, and you could bring that up in a friendly way, see what they say. But ultimately, you can't and you shouldn't attempt to control them. You do not have sole ownership of your last name anymore. You gave it to her freely in marriage, you can't take it back because it dissolved, nor should you. I'm sorry, man. Your feelings are valid, but there are no sensible actions to take here, no control you're entitled to. I mean the following very delicately, and only because it doesn't sound like you have a sounding board. You might talk to a counselor, just in case this is really a manifestation of something else, maybe subconsciously? It can't hurt. Good luck, OP. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. Turn the notification on to get updated on my latest posts. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day, everyone.